Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to start rebuilding the steering on the new Bolens HT23. As you may remember from a previous video, we investigated the steering and found a number of problems with it. And after that video we wrote down the things we needed to buy for it, which are these three here, and we've actually got all of those things now, which means that we can start with rebuilding it. Now, before we actually started with this video, it's going to be quite difficult to get to the lathe currently, so we've actually made up anything that we might need to help us get bushes out, etc. And they've been made up already before this video, so we don't have to go back over to the lathe. But as you can see, we've got an array of parts here, lots of standard size bushes, thread locker because these bolts have a tendency to come loose while they're on there, and a lot of track rod ends. And also from a different video we have these bolts which are imperial to replace the metric ones that are currently on the hood. The first thing that we're going to replace is going to be the bush at the bottom of the steering column. Now, usually, if this was any other thing, you could just get a press in there, but obviously you can't press that out, so that's out of the equation. And then we have one of these, a blind bearing puller, which we could try to use, but without dragging up the tractor, you can't really get a tool underneath it to actually pull it out. So that's going to be our plan B if we have to resort to that. But what we're going to use is the first of our tools. Which you can see here, I have this, which this part is smaller than this bit, and you can see there's the lip. The smaller part is the right size to go through the hole as a locator, and then the lip catches on the bush. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have a bolt going through here, and then a spacer underneath, and then a nut. Then when we do up the top of the bolt here, to try and actually do it up, the bolt will actually be pushing the bush through. And then hopefully that will just take it out with no problems. We've got it all set up now, and I've got a ratchet underneath to help me undo it. You can hear it clicking when it moves. As you saw there, that worked very well. And you can see how worn this old one is compared to the new one next to it. But now we're going to use the same method to put the new one in. This method's working really well to wind it in as well. We've got the new bush fully in there now, and our little tool worked very well. So we'll be using this next time we have to do this job. But we did that bush first because with the quadrant in place it's quite difficult to get to, and we might have actually forgotten it if the quadrant was in there first. Now for the next part of putting this back together with new components, we have another tool, which is actually a couple of parts here, this and this. Now this is to get this steel sleeve in there out. Hopefully separate to the bronze bush, but it's alright if they come together. So what you do is you line that up like that, and then this is similar to the last tool we used, where it goes in the hole, and then after the lip it's wide enough to push it through. But you can see it's it's thin enough still that it doesn't catch the bronze bush. Here we are on the press now, and we've set up everything ready to actually push the steel sleeve out. So let's try it. Put that there. And you can see the steel sleeve is out. After successfully getting the steel spacer out, we also pushed out the bronze bush, because when we actually measured it while it was in there, the inside is actually partly ovalled. So we weren't going to reuse that. And here are our new bush and spacer. And the spacer is actually bronze instead of the steel one that was in it previously. Quite a lot has happened since you last saw this. Now, what we first did was we pressed the new bush in there, and then the spacer that we have, what we did was we very carefully sanded down the surface of it, just to make sure that it definitely turned in there. Obviously not too loosely, because that would mean that there was tons of play in it, but just slightly loose enough that you could turn it alright in there, just to stop the problem that happened previously with it. And then to test it, we put a nut and bolt in it and then put it in the vise, and that turned as it should do. So now to put it on the tractor again. After lots of messing around, finally the quadrant's in there. Took us quite a long time to do up the bolt, because we could only do about 1/4 of a turn on the spanner each time. But as you can see, it's in there now and fully lined up and everything. With the quadrant bolted up, there's absolutely no play in that, which is a lot better than before. But with the quadrant in, that's actually a good time for us to stop now, because we're quickly running out of time today. But there will be a part 2 to all of this steering repairs, where we hopefully put the new track rod ends on. But that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Please subscribe to my channel, like this video and see our other videos. More to follow as we do more on this tractor. Bye!